Yo, I'm back with another video, and this is going to be a prediction video for the upcoming UFC Fight Night, which is going to take place in Qatar, Doha. And it seems like a good fight card, in my opinion. The main event is not exactly highly competitive. Arman Tsarukyan is going to win, most probably by a finish against Dan Hooker, probably submission. Belal versus Garry. Now that is a competitive fight. I'm leaning towards Garry. And Volkan Oezdemir. Yeah. And then there's Jack Hermanson versus Miekbek Orolbai. This makes no sense. This fight really makes no sense. Like there is no point of this fight. Spivac is gonna fight against Gaziev. Alexandre Topuria is fighting somewhere. Yep, he's there. And Luke Riley is there. The Tagir Ulenbekov is fighting again. So I'll be making this prediction video. I will be predicting some of the fights because majority of the fighters in here are not exactly that interesting or exciting, but a lot of known names are in there. So interesting fight card. Without any further ado, let us start. The first fight I don't know anything about, so I'm gonna start from the second fight. I'm gonna pick Saigid Izak Izakmaev. Izakmaev. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm gonna pick Saigid to win this by probably an unanimous decision against Nicolas Delby because Delby is on a 2-5 losing streak. Also, he is 41 years old, which is very old. So let's move on. The Zeke Eagle, Nurulo Aliyev. I'm going to go with Nurulo Aliyev to win this one, probably by a unanimous decision because he is on a 12-fight winning streak. He is a decision guy. Most of his fights are decisions, one ground and pound. That was in the Contender Series back in 2022. He was only 22 back then, I believe. He was only 22 years old when he made his UFC debut. So this guy can be a really big problem in lightweight later on in his career. And I'm going to pick him to win against Shaquem Rock. What an interesting name to have. I don't know much about this guy. He is 32 years old, 12-1-1, 12 wins, 1 loss. His last loss was against Nathan Kelly back in 2021. Since then, he's been on a winning streak. Still, I'm going to go with Zeke Eagle to win this one because he has more experience in UFC compared to this gentleman over here. Ryan Loder is going to fight against Ismail Narudiev. I'm going to go with Narudiev to win this one, probably by a unanimous decision because Ryan Loder is really bad. He's not exactly an exciting fighter. He's a wrestler. He lost to Jung Yong Park by decision. Jung Yong Park is actually a veteran of this game. And this guy is 29, not exactly that old, but Ryan Loder is old. Like he recently made his MMA debuts. And making your transitioning to MMA after the age of 30 is not exactly a great deal. And Ryan Loder is a good wrestler, but I believe he's not exactly a bull nickel kind of a wrestler. He's just good enough. I'm going to go with Narudiev to win this one, probably by a dominant unanimous decision, or maybe just a boring unanimous decision because they're both boring fighters from the look of it. Now, this is actually an interesting fight because Bekzat is fighting against other Topuria, that is Alexandre Topuria, the elder brother of the current UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria. Now, Bekzat Almakhan, his last loss was against Umar Nurmagomedov, right? Yep, he lost to Umar back in 2024. Then he fought once in 2025, that is in May, and he defeated Brett Katona by an uppercut. This guy is actually a finisher. He has multiple finishes in his MMA record, and he did lose to Umar, but Umar is again arguably the second best bantamweight fighter currently, and Umar has only lost to Merab. So, and again, he gave a really tough fight to Merab. That was not exactly a one-sided beatdown. He just got tired. So Umar is a game opponent. Like he's a really tough opponent to defeat. And Topuria does not really have that amount of experience. I know he's the brother of Ilya, but still, he has good boxing, just like Ilya. He does not have the power that Ilya has. He's more technical. He is more defensively sound, in my opinion. And he's a really good wrestler. We saw that in his last fight. So maybe to win against Bekzat, he has to wrestle. Because if it goes to striking, there is a good chance Bekzat might knock him out. Because how tall is Bekzat? Bekzat is 5'7". Alexandre is also 5'7". So height, reach, they're pretty similar. Bekzat has more experience for sure. I believe Topuria, it is Alexandre Topuria, El Conquistador. I believe he's a better grappler, and I think he's going to use his wrestling in this fight to win against Bekzat. So I'm going to go with Topuria, the other Topuria, to win by an unanimous decision. Now, I would say a debut, not exactly a debut, but he used to fight at UFC at one point of time, a legend of this game. He's kind of like a legend. He is a veteran of this game. In the flyweight division, to be more specific, that is Kyoji Horiguchi. Horiguchi, for those of you who do not know, was a flyweight. He lost to, I believe, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson long time back. When was it? Like, just long time back, dude. I don't even remember. I was a kid back then. Yep. He won against Ali Bagotino back in 2016. He lost to DJ in 2015. And since then, he has only lost to Petri Mix and then Sergio Pettis by a spinning back fist, lost against Kaya Sakura. So now he's on a 5-5 winning streak. He defeated Sergio Pettis, got his win back. Zulu, Shinryu. So mostly he was fighting in Rising and he was fighting in Japan. And at the age of 34, making a transition from Japanese MMA back to UFC, I don't think that is going to go well. I don't think it is going to go that well for him. I believe he's going to get paid a lot of money because he's a former champion. He's a known name. He's kind of like a superstar in Japan at least. And even the hardcore MMA fans, they know about Kyoji Horiguchi. And apart from like in his early run, he only lost to, I believe, DJ. Like after DJ, he did not lose to anyone in his next 3 UFC fights. And then he was undefeated for a long time. Then he lost to Kaya Asakura. Then again, he defeated Asakura by knockout. Then again, lost to Petri Mix and Sergio Pettis. If you're losing, and then again, Petri Mix, I believe, is significantly bigger than Horiguchi. He might do well in UFC, you never know. But I'm going to go and pick Tagir Ulenbekov to win this one because Ulenbekov is on a 4-fight winning streak and he trains out of Team Habib. I think he trains out of Team Habib, right? I'm not exactly 100% sure. I'm not exactly sure about it, but I think he trains out of Habib's gym. He has only lost like 2 fights in his UFC career. He's ranked 14. I'm going to go with Ulenbekov to defeat Horiguchi, most probably by a dominant or maybe a solid unanimous decision. All right, let's move on. Rafael Sarquera versus Abdul Rakam. Again, I don't know about these two, so I'm going to pick it. This seems like an interesting fight. Bogdan Grad, he lost his last fight, and prior to that, he won. Who did he lose to? I'm not exactly sure. I don't even remember. He's old, I believe. He's really old. No, he's only 30. He's not exactly an old fighter. He did lose to Muhammad Naimov. Naimov, let me look at who's Naimov. Okay, not exactly a great fighter, but still, he has lost to Felipe Lima by choke, then defeated Karofli and Bogdan Greg. Interesting. Luke Riley is making his UFC debut. I don't know much about Luke Riley. He's only 25, 26 years old, not exactly very young, neither very old. Like he's young. He's young, pretty young. He can maybe make a lot of improvements in his UFC career. He did not fight in his. He was supposed to make his debut in Contender Series, but the fight got cancelled against Kevin Vallejos. I think Vallejos would have defeated him. He defeated Alexandre Jr. I didn't really know who to pick in this fight, so I'm not going to pick any winner because I have never seen these two fight. And again, I've never seen Luke Riley fight. Alex Perez is going to fight against Asu Almabayev. I'm going to go with Almabayev to win this one, probably by a not dominant, but a solid unanimous decision, maybe a boring unanimous decision. Because Alex Perez in his last fight, he hurt his knee he was hurt because of Tatsuro Taira. The fight ended by a technical submission. Not exactly submission, but his knee was completely broken in that fight. And I don't know if he has recovered from that submission. He's 33 years old. He's pretty old. He's not exactly a young guy. He's 33, not exactly super old, but still old. Almabayev is 31, not exactly a young fighter either. And Almabayev, he won his last fight. Who did he win against? Jose Ochoa. And not exactly a high caliber win, but still he lost to Manel Kape, and Manel Kape poked his eyes multiple times in this fight. So I'm not really sold in that Manel Kape loss. I'm going to go with Asu Almabayev to win this one by a unanimous decision. Sergei Spivac versus the GOAT, Shamil the Meal Deal Gaziev. I'm going to go with Shamil Gaziev to win this one, probably by a second round TKO or maybe a first round TKO against Sergei Spivac. Gaziev has good boxing. He has lost only once, and that was against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He has defeated Dontel Mayes. He has defeated Thomas Peterson. And Spivac is not exactly a good fighter. He has terrible boxing. Has some good grappling, but he did lose to Alexander Waldo Cortez Costa. Lost to Cyril Gane, lost to Jason Almeida, has lost to Thomas Pinot. He has only lost to some good fighters. But then again, Almeida is not a good fighter. So yeah, it doesn't matter, jack shit. I'm gonna go with Shamil Gaziev to win this one, probably by a knockout. I can see a second round knockout. The most random fight of this year. This fight, I just don't even understand why they made this fight. Miakbek Orolfai is going to fight against Jack Hermanson. Orolfai, who is mostly fighting in the lightweight division, he has missed weight, and because of missing weight in his last fight, he has decided to move up and fight in the welterweight division. I think he made his debut in the welterweight division against Uros Medic. I'm not exactly sure. After that, he defeated Elvis Brunner by decision, lost the split decision against Matthew Rebecki, and that was a solid fight. That was one of the best fights ever in the UFC. He did put a lot of damage on Rebecki. He also took a lot of damage in that fight. And after that, he fought against Tofik Musayev and won that fight by Kimura. Really dominant. Did not even give any space to Musayev. Completely outclassed him with his grappling. And now he's moving up to welterweight, where I don't think he will be the bigger guy, but I think he's perfect for the welterweight division. He's 5'10", not exactly a small guy, but he's good. Like, he has solid grappling. His grappling is really good out of Kyrgyzstan. He's fighting against Jack Hermanson, the Joker. Jack was fighting all his life in the middleweight division in UFC. I've never seen him fight in welterweight, and now he has decided to move down at the age of 36, I believe, 37. Why are you cutting so much weight and moving down to the welterweight division at the age of 37? It makes no sense. I mean, I understand he got badly knocked out against Gregory Rodriguez, and I don't know how well he has recovered. He only fought in June. It's been, 6 months? I don't know, like, after a knockout like that, can you really recover? He did defeat Joe Pyfer back in 2024. That's something. He lost to Roman Dolidze, won against Chris Curtis, lost to Sean Strickland, won against Edmund Shabazian, lost to Marvin Vettori, won against Kelvin Gastelum, lost to Jared Cannonier. Well, in middleweight, he's still a good competitor. He's still a good contender in some weird way because he's 37. Still, he's good. It makes zero sense. He has really good jiu-jitsu, but I don't know how good his wrestling is going to be. I'm going to go and pick Orolfai to win this one. I don't know, because Jack Hermanson, I don't know how he's going to cut so much weight, because he's not exactly a small middleweight. Like, he cuts weight to make middleweight limit. He has decent boxing. He has better boxing than Orolfai. I don't know, man. I don't know who to pick in this fight. I'm not going to pick anybody because both of them are going to make. I just can't pick Jack Hermanson, and I cannot pick Orolfai as well. Okay, let's skip this one. Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonso Monifield. I'm going to go with Oezdemir to win this one. I believe he has more technique compared to Monifield. Even though Monifield is on a 2-fight winning streak, who did he defeat? He defeated Julius Walker and Umar Sy. None of them are near the caliber fighter of Oezdemir. Oezdemir is definitely a veteran of this game. He has fought against some best fights, some really good fighters. He has fought against DC. Alonso Monifield is also 38 years old. He hasn't really lost that many fights. He has 2 losses in UFC. One was against Azamat, of course, and Carlos Ulberg, who are really good fighters. He lost to William Knight, and then he went on a crazy winning streak. 4-fight winning streak, 1 draw against Jimmy Crute, then lost 2 and won 2 against Umar Sy and Julius Walker. I'm still going to go with Volkan Oezdemir. He hasn't fought in over a year, but still he has more experience, like the kind of fighters or the caliber of fighters that he has fought, the competition that he has faced is much better. He lost to Nikita Krylov, but did win against Bogdan Guskov, Johnny Walker, lost to Carlos Ulberg, of course, but still a decision against Carlos Ulberg. Won against Paul Craig, won against Ilir Latifi, Alexander Rakic. So he did defeat Alexander Rakic. I'm going to go with Volkan Oezdemir to win this one, probably by a unanimous decision against Alonso Monifield. All right, let's move on to the co-main event. Arguably the most competitive fight in this entire fight card. This is going to be really competitive. Belal, the former UFC welterweight champion, who recently, not exactly recently, but he did lose to JDM. That was last year. Was it last year? No, that was this year. Whoa. He lost to JDM in May. JDM made a quick return, to be honest. In that fight, he did win, I believe, round 4 maybe. He probably won round 3 and round 4, maybe round 2 and round 4. I'm fairly certain he probably won one of the rounds, but then again, JDM showed up that night and JDM was in point. And we saw that if Belal cannot take you down, if he cannot really pressure you, then he cannot win against you. And I mean, he has defeated some good fighters. Like, he knocked out Sean Brady. TKO, but he defeated Gilbert Burns, made Leon Edwards look like a nobody in there, dunked Leon Edwards right on his head, and made Leon Edwards like he started the losing streak of Leon Edwards, and since then Leon Edwards has not been able to bounce back. Belal is definitely the better grappler. I think he's the better wrestler. I don't know if he's a better jiu-jitsu fighter than Ian Machado Gary because Gary has the ability to go for submission. Like he cinched a rear naked choke on Shavkat Rakhmonov. If he is willing to grapple with Shavkat, then I'm fairly certain he's going to be more than willing to grapple with Belal. I don't think Belal has the submission threat of like Shavkat has or Makachev has. Like Islam Makachev has a really good submission threat. Even Tom Brady has a submission threat. Belal, not exactly so much of a submission artist. He mostly takes you to the ground. Not exactly a lot of ground and pound either, but rather just tries to control you on the ground, tries to wear you down with. Basically, if you have more endurance, you can win against Belal. Belal has good hands, good boxing, not exactly super powerful, but decent enough. But I think Ian Garry is going to be the better striker for sure. Belal is definitely going to be the better wrestler, but Ian, I believe, is going to have good takedown defense. I think his jiu-jitsu is good enough. I think he will be doing well. If the fight goes to the ground, I can see Garry probably trying to go for a submission or maybe even like he's definitely going to go for a scramble. He might try to go for a submission. Again, this fight is going to be a 3-round fight. And I can see Ian Garry just staying on the outside and winning by basically throwing a lot of leg kicks and jab. Ian Garry can probably do that. He has done that in the past. He gave a tough fight to Shavkat Rakhmonov, and he got really close to finishing Shavkat with that rear naked choke. But then again, that is Shavkat Rakhmonov, so he was able to withstand the pain. He was endure the pain and then eventually win the fight by unanimous decision. But that was a tough fight, and I think Shavkat is a better fighter than Belal, in my opinion. I think Shavkat is better than Belal. And at this point of time, Ian Garry, considering the fact that he's really young, 28, kind of becoming a mature fighter, I think he's probably training in a better, like now he's probably training in a proper gym. He probably has proper coaches. A lot of people do not like Ian Garry because of his personal life and his family and whatnot. I don't care about that. That's his opinion, whatever he does. But Belal is also 37. The dude is 37 years old. That is really old. He is going to be 9 years older than Ian Machado Gary. And Ian Garry is going to be taller than Belal. Belal is, I believe, 6 feet. He's probably 6 feet. He's not 5'11". He's 6 feet. Gary is definitely taller. He's like 6'3" for sure. Gary is taller. I think Gary is going to probably stay on the outside, land a couple of leg kicks every round, and then win every round because of more significant strikes or maybe outside jab and whatnot, outside leg kicks, inside leg kicks. I'm going to go with Ian Machado Gary to win this one by a unanimous decision. Maybe 2-1. Maybe he will win round 1 and 2. Belal will win round 3. I can see that happening. But I'm going to go with Ian Machado Gary to win this one, probably by a unanimous decision. Now, the main event of the evening. Who do you think is going to win in this fight? Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, Dan the Hangman Hooker. I'm going to go with Arman Tsarukyan to win this one, probably by a submission in this first round or maybe second round submission for Arman Tsarukyan against Dan Hooker. Arman Tsarukyan hasn't fought for the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, his last fight, no, not exactly. He hasn't fought in a 1.5 year. His last fight was in April 2024. That was against Charles Oliveira. He won that fight by a split decision. But then again, that is Charles Oliveira, one of the best submission grapplers in all of UFC history, versus Dan Hooker, who does not really have any kind of submission defense. We have seen that the kryptonite to defeating Dan Hooker is grappling and wrestling. And he did win against Matthews Gamrot back in August last year. And then now he's going to fight against Arman. I think Arman will probably wrestle him from the get-go. And Arman probably might. I don't think Arman will knock him out. There is an opportunity. He might knock him out. But then again, it is not going to be easy to knock out Dan Hooker because he's a tough guy. Like if there is one thing that Dan Hooker has, then it is his heart. His heart is bigger than everyone else. It doesn't matter how much punishment you put on him. Like striking wise, he's going to stay up. His fight against Edson Barboza is one of the best fights. Like that's a good classic. That's one of the best fights you have ever seen. But that aside, I think Arman Tsarukyan, I believe, is going to be the better boxer. I think he's more technical. Dan will probably be faster, but I don't know. Arman is going to have more power, probably. But I think Arman is going to wrestle him. He's just going to take him down and probably control him on the ground and maybe get a submission in round 2 or round 3. I can see maybe uh, what was it, an arm triangle or maybe a rear naked choke or maybe a Kimura for Arman. I'm going to go with Arman to win this one by submission. And yeah, that is it from today's video. Subscribe,